everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast Open Hour. I'm your co-host, Scott Patton, and joining us as usual is founder of the Life Enthusiast Co-op, Martin Pytela. And the purpose in this hour is to answer any of your questions. There is a chat box on one of these two sides if you're looking at us in Google+, and just type in your questions, and we're going to do our best to answer them. And we do this on a regular basis, so just join us on G+, and we'll also be putting some postings out on Facebook and sending out an email letting you know when we have these open hours. So,
regular
Martin,
Thursdays. Hello, this is Martin.
Thursdays.
I'm doing fine. Regular Thursdays, as always. Well, except for the next 2 weeks, because I'm going to be out of the office, out of the country, traveling. But I'm more than happy to answer the questions that have snowed in already. And so
cool.
let's
Where are you going,
let's have at it.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the Czech Republic and to Italy. The Czech Republic, that's my family. My daughter lives there now, and my mother is there, and I haven't seen her in 3 years, so it's high time.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. And you're going to Italy to do some interesting things too, I bet.
Oh yes, definitely. We have a relationship with a group of naturopathic doctors. They're running rejuvenation clinics, and we're helping them with the Star Chamber, the rejuvenation station technology. This is the stuff we inherited from Jim Carter. It's the laminar crystal for rejuvenation. Anyway, so they have set up some measurement systems. They are what they're doing is measuring vital signs of people before they start, and then after 1, 2, or many sessions. And
cool. So what are laminar crystals?
Oh, well, we don't exactly tell people, but it's a form of mica. Mica is available in great many places, and they are not all made equal. Sort of like apples. You have many varieties of apples. Some are better than others, or wine maybe. You have the red and the white and blah 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 blah, and you can choose that the Merlot from this particular village in France really suits you. Sort of like that with mica. So the one that we have found to work as the accumulator of the organ or life force energy, we've been calling it laminar crystal, and make it available to people to make their own orgonite devices or make their own charging tools like a bed mattress or pillow or whatnot. And we also make things out of it. We bind it with potter's clay or ceramic material and make it available either as pendants that you can wear, or as just, we call them pearls and cupcakes that you can either use in structuring of water, like in a bath or in a drinking water, and also you can use them as your body healing technique. The same way as you would use heated black stones in spa therapy, you can use our cupcakes. They are really good at dissolving blockages, letting go of stuck energies.
Okay, and I think that I have a pouch of laminar crystals, right?
I hope you do. I just don't remember.
Yeah, well, you can get a pouch of laminar crystals, and it's about 4 inches long by maybe 2 or 3 inches wide, right?
Yeah, that's one of the forms in which we sold it. I just don't remember.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it was laminar crystal that was in it, because I've had it beside my bed for about 8 months, and about 2 months ago I started getting a really sore shoulder, like a dull ache, right? And I had my chiropractor work on it, and it really improved it. And then one night it was just like it actually woke me up. So I grabbed the pouch and I just stuck it on my arm, at my shoulder, and it was very cool. And the next thing you know, it's like, where did the pain go? It's gone, right? And it actually moved up into my neck. So I just moved the laminar pouch up against my neck, and it was like I was just shocked, like, almost instantaneously the pain disappeared. So now, of course, I can't be departed from my laminar crystal pouch. I always have it like really close beside me in bed. It's almost like you should make laminar crystal teddy bears, and then kids can just
You're
cuddle
getting
with
you're
it.
getting funny. You're getting very funny. Well, we do sell these very simple pouches, but we also sell it in a jug. Is in I think it's $30 for 4 pounds of it, and so people can get very creative with it and make their own little huggy toys.
Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll get the cloth teddy bear and everything else already made, and then instead of stuffing it with stuffing, we'll stuff it up with laminar crystals, and just have it beside little babies, and they'll just get charged with super energy, right?
Oh, definitely. It's well, that the primary role of this thing, what it does, it moves the or removes the blockage. Typically, pain develops wherever chi is not moving freely,
Mm-hmm.
sort of like damming up a creek. When you have a log jam, pretty soon you have something that needs to be unplugged.
Yeah, yeah, and well, that's what my chiropractor said. He said the nerve going through there was just getting sort of had pressure on it from the shoulder, and it would just crack like crazy, right? But he didn't quite get all of it gone, and now it's uh, it's gone. It's great. I like it very much. Much more, much a better quality of life now than I had for the last 2 months in terms of moving my arms and my shoulders and not feeling this dull, achy pain. All right. Well,
Well,
anyway, this
jolly
is
good.
the Life Enthusiast Open Hour. We better get at it. We've got a couple questions already, so thank you very much. Um, let's see. We got Kevin from San Diego. Almost said Seattle, but it's from San Diego, and he's asking about raw food. And he says basically, like, is raw food good for me? And
Well, all right. The number one answer is yes. The better question would be why?
hmm and also, what if it's raw organic versus raw just got in the grocery produce section?
Okay, so I guess the first question should be answered why. The why is raw, as in uncooked, unpreserved, just fresh, means that it still has the natural enzymes in it intact. That's the main difference between cooked, preserved, or raw.
And if it has the enzymes, those are the building blocks for life, right?
They're more the activation. It's sort of like the spark plug in a car. Like you could have fuel, you could have air, but if you don't have the spark plug, you will not have ignition, or
Okay.
you will not have the explosions that will drive you forward. The enzymes turn on and turn off the expression of the proteins of the other things in the body. Like that, there's this. Oh gosh, we're getting too sophisticated here. Coiling and uncoiling of individual proteins is controlled by enzymes.
And that's what gives you energy.
That's what makes all life possible. So yeah, it's important to have enzymes. If you don't have enzymes, and you definitely start running out of your enzyme reserves by the time you're about 27, you definitely need to start supplementing unless you're living all raw, which is exceedingly difficult to do. And of course, there are some foods that should not be eaten raw. Like, for instance, the cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, kohlrabi, the whole group of them. They are there's some anti-foods in them. They suppress the function of your thyroid. So especially if you're thyroid dominant, you will find yourself hypothyroid or gaining weight or other problems just from eating too much of raw broccoli. So watch that.
Wow, and I like raw broccoli and raw cauliflower. So I
Well,
gotta make sure that it's steamed.
right. It should be either steamed or fermented. Like, cabbage is one of the other ones in the family. So fermented is
Sauerkraut.
good. Yep, sauerkraut is great. So to wrap it up, raw food, yes, raw food is wonderful because it has all the enzymes still intact. And better than just raw is, of course, what field did it grow in? Is it good?
hmm
Is it organic? Is it polluted? You don't want to just go raw for the sake of raw, and you don't want to go, I don't know what, how do I best wrap it up? The uh, the benefit of eating raw are great. We just need to be selective about what foods we are actually buying and eating.
And the quality of the food makes a difference too. I mean, I've seen carrots that are kind of rubbery and you can tell they're old and they're dried out and all the rest of it. So you want food that's fresh. And I guess the enzyme quality of a 20-year-old carrot, a 20-month-old, 20-day-old, sorry, carrot that has been left out and has lost a lot of its moisture, probably lost a lot of its enzyme activity as well.
Yeah, good chance of that. Actually, carrots, they're only harvested once a year, as far as I remember. So it could be that they've been sitting in a freezer somewhere or in a cooler somewhere for a fairly long time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was a kid, the carrots that we had were in the root cellar, and in the root cellar there was this big box of wet sand, and these carrots were actually stuck into the wet sand. And so in
Oh,
in about February they were still so-so. Come about March or April, they were these bearded, fuzzy,
yeah,
limp-looking things that were maybe good enough to hide in a soup or a stew, but you wouldn't want to eat it raw.
right, right. So that brings up a question too about because we've got this movement about eating locally, the 100-mile thing. Only eat food that's grown within 100 miles of you, and then we've got the organic thing going on, and then we've got the when is the harvest time for that food, and that's when you should be eating it. It's like you said, there's certain times of the year when the carrots are coming out of the ground, and there's certain times of the year when the strawberries are coming out of the ground or are being picked. That's the one I remember because it's a short period, and they've got all these local strawberries, and then you don't have it for, the other 11 months of the year. So, is that something we should be thinking about a lot more than we are?
Actually, very much so. I would say, this plays into the metabolic typing that I I try to promote to everyone who will listen. It's the biological individuality. If your ancestors lived in a particular climate or a particular microclimate environment, they were probably genetically selected to be well suited to living in that spot. And that's that 100-mile radius. What's funny, of course, is that your ancestors, one of them came from Switzerland and the other one came from I don't know what, like just pick any two locations. So you
Yep.
don't really know which genetics came forward, and yet, so how do I best say it? Let's just say that one of your ancestors was an Eskimo, and the genetics came through. And so you're perfectly adapted to living on whale blubber and seal meat raw, and
Yep.
you're now living in Florida, and, and you're trying to eat your 100-mile diet. So you're trying to live on oranges, pineapples, and whatever they're growing down there, bananas and avocados. And you're doing
Yep.
yourself absolutely no service because you are either a fast oxidizer or a parasympathetic who's supposed to be living on a very high protein diet. And, and instead, you're trying to live your 100-mile diet in Florida. That will
Yep.
certainly leads to disaster.
I was actually just thinking about how many of us live anywhere near where we grew up, where our parents grew up, or where our great 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 grandparents grew up. And I'm probably 3 generations away from someplace in the United States. I'm in Canada right now, or Scotland, or Germany, or Finland, probably. So, it's like the 100-mile diet. I should be eating sardines probably and haggis, which
Possibly, or maybe you should be living on the reindeer, as your Finnish grandmother punched through genetically.
right. So how do we kind of figure this out? Like if we're saying, okay, like what are some steps that we could take to get that answer? Because if I'm eating the wrong type, then I know from having worked with you that when I eat the wrong type of food for me, like a banana, I go lay down on the couch and have a nap for 45 minutes. Doesn't matter how active I feel like I am before the banana. When I have the banana, that's what happens to me. And then I'll have a steak and I'll be running up and down the walls and just be full of energy. So I can see the impact that eating certain types of foods have on us. And I've also seen people that have gone on a total vegetarian diet, and like you say, they shouldn't be. Like, that's not good for their body, and they are just so sick. But they're so into this, like the mind, right, is like, no, I'm going to be vegetarian, and for whatever the reason was, I didn't know what it was, but she was like losing weight and pale and sickly, and actually did get really, really sick. And that's not a reason for everybody not to eat vegetarian, but for her, it just was the wrong thing. Or
Well,
what she was
so
eating on her diet was wrong, because she could add more protein if she'd eaten some nuts maybe more than she did, or I don't know, right?
it's
But
possible. It is possible to go vegetarian even as you need to be high protein, high fat, but it sure is not as easy. It's so much
yeah,
easier to do it as a person who's an omnivore and eats some proteins. Well, depending on the body type, right? Like you can
yeah.
be the thyroid dominant or the adrenal dominant and so on. I mean, we can get really complicated here. But in general, there are two great classes. Either you're autonomic dominant or you're oxidative dominant. And most of the books and most of the charts pretend that everybody is an autonomic dominant and everybody's sympathetic. So you will read there that carrot juice is great and that bananas are perfect and green smoothies are all the rage.
Hmm.
Well, that serves about a quarter of the population, right? So anyway, to say this, if you're autonomic dominant, then carbs will be alkalizing, which means that overly alkalized means that you're kind of depressed or at least down-regulated. So you just described when you
You're
take
not
your
moving very
banana,
much. Yeah,
when you take your banana, you go overly alkaline and you just want to take a nap.
yeah,
And so to counteract it, you take some proteins and fats, and things are fine. So
right.
whenever I counsel some, well, never mind. So the other group is the oxidative dominant, and everything's upside down for them. Carbs make them acidic, and fats and proteins make them alkaline. So if you're a fast oxidizer, you take you take a couple of beer and a piece of toast, and you're ready to pick a fight with just about anybody, or just have a road rage fit.
Right.
Whereas whereas you need to eat some high protein meal just to stop being obnoxious.
Okay. So, all right. So, well, Kevin, that gives you hopefully a lot to think about in terms of your question, which was about raw food. And then Arlene asks, why am I getting hot flashes? So
Oh
we're
yeah,
assuming
oi, oi,
maybe
oi. Now we're oh boy, are we ever switching horses here? Okay,
yes.
so the number one is the thermoregulation is governed by the thyroid, by the endocrine system. Um, Typically, ladies get an excess of estrogen as their ovaries start to decline. At the end of the reproductive era, somewhere in their 40s or perhaps 50s, the estrogen starts being no longer opposed by a reasonable amount of progesterone. So when there is excess of estrogen in the circulation, you have a hot flash going. Now, your liver is the organ that's responsible for decomposing or taking apart the unneeded estrogen. So if your liver is not keeping up, that's when there's the extra estrogen in circulation, and the hot flash stays, like
Hmm.
keeps on and on. So the full circle solution then, do a liver cleanse. And boy, have we ever got a lovely product for you. We have the Exula liver formula. It's just phenomenal. All you have to do is just take one bottle of it. It's not cheap, it's $139, but just one bottle will take care of it.
So
Liver
what's the
cleanse.
best way to take it? Because I know it's in a bottle. Like, I keep it in the freezer. I just got it, so I haven't actually started taking it. Do you just mix it with some juice, mix it with water, put it on your cereal, take it spoonful and put it in your mouth? What?
Well, depending on your body type, right? You should
Okay.
be taking it. If you want to go neutral, have it with water. If you're okay with carbs, have it in fruit juice. If you're not okay with carbs, have it with some perhaps what juice and a cucumber or a smoothie that's going to be some greens in it, right?
Okay. So have it with some greens then.
Yeah, that would work. Cucumber, parsley, something, whatever you want to put into a blender, make a liquid salad.
Okay. So it's a great way to do a liver cleanse.
Oh, absolutely. And the perhaps less expensive one is Dr. Miller's tea. We have the Holy Tea and my Miracle Tea, two different versions. Both of them do really, really well on helping the liver cleanse. Oh, there's a
Mm.
natural way to do that, and it's called the coffee enema.
The
So,
coffee enema.
yeah, when you
Sounds like
insert,
fun.
well, yeah, it's not the most natural way to do things, but boy, is it ever effective. When you insert this brewed coffee into your lower intestine, it goes straight to the liver and causes it to dump the toxins. Does really well.
Oh. Now, is this like the same coffee that like I had in the morning to wake up?
Sort of. The instructions are available. It's slowly or gently brewed for about 15 minutes. So
Okay.
it's made really, really strong. It's not your classic espresso.
Right. Okay. All right. So I guess hopefully that answers your question, Arlene. Next, we've got Debbie from Phoenix. Some people are telling me where they're from and some aren't, but it'd be great to know where you're at. Uh, why am I always feeling so tired? Well, maybe you're
Oui.
like me and you're having too many bananas.
Okay, so yeah, you hit one of the possible causes. I just dropped something here. One of the causes would be that you're overly alkaline, which we have been told alkalize, drink ionized water and all of that, right? Well,
Oh, yeah. So if you're drinking alkaline water and alkaline, like for in my case, maybe it's not my case. I'm just thinking of what
yes,
happens
it
when I
is
have a
your case.
banana, right? I'll be sleeping all the time if I'm eating alkalized water.
Okay, so let's
Drinking
sort
it,
it
I
out.
mean.
Yeah, there are two types that are overly alkaline, and there are two types that are overly acidic. So in the oxidative type, the fast oxidizer is overly acidic, and the slow oxidizer is overly alkaline. And so the slow oxidizer gets more alkaline, which means more depressed, by eating carbs or drinking the ionized water.
Okay.
And in your case, as a parasympathetic, you're you're overly alkaline and also would get worse off drinking that water. So
Right.
that's yeah, the water ionizer expense is wasted on you. Anyway,
Although
so
yeah, okay, good. All right. So what are some other things that could be the problem?
well, energy generation. So what if your body is not getting the right form of energy? Some of us are designed to burn energy very efficiently, overly efficiently, which means that we go through easy converted energy like starches too fast. And for that reason, we need to be eating fats, lipids. So the fast oxidizers and the parasympathetics, they definitely need to be eating a diet that's high in protein, high in fat. The other ones, the sympathetics and slow oxidizers, they can be overly tired from eating a diet that's too heavy. Sort of like putting diesel into a gasoline engine, you just gum it up. So that's part of it, getting the right kind of fuel, and
Right.
then the liver as the organ. That's the place where the energy is generated. So that's an important piece. The most common problem, though, is probably thyroid function. We did a hangout not long ago on the body types to figure out what your dominant gland is. So if you happen to be the thyroid type, which is the people that are slender arms, slender legs, tall-ish, who tend to crave sweets and put weight on their belly. If they are tired, they're probably tired because they're hypothyroid and they need to put themselves on iodine supplementation. Check out the iodine section in our product selection on the website. Or what else? Thyroid is made to function less efficiently. We mentioned it earlier today by eating cruciferous vegetables too raw, or raw, period. Thyroid can also be made really dysfunctional by eating foods that are high in bromine, such as commercial baking goods. Brominated flour is what's used in commercial bread and pastries. I mean, that I could go probably for half an hour about all the possible ways how you could mess up your thyroid. So let's just go back to the beginning. Check your basal temperature in the morning. It should be 98.6 or higher. If it's lower, then your thyroid's not working right. That means you're hypothyroid, and then we need to deal with that. That could be number one cause. Another one is liver, cleanse your liver. Another one is other toxins, who knows what that is. Another one is the proper mix of the fuel, as in eating to your type. Okay.
Well, that's a good start to answering that question, I think, Martin.
Well, actually, I just thought of one more thing, and that's sulfur. MSM is really important in helping the body to convert fuel into energy. And there are some really affordable supplements, like a pound of MSM is $15. So check that out.
That'll last for a while.
Oh, no. That's right. That you should probably eat that in a month if you're chronically tired.
Oh, okay.
And we have one other one. It tastes
good too, doesn't it?
Oh, no, it doesn't. It's probably the most bitter darn thing on the planet. Yeah, not a fun thing to eat. But one other thing, I have a really cool product by Humalife. It's called ATP Plus. That's ATP, Alpha Tango Papa. And that stands for adenosine triphosphate. And this stuff is based on Dr. Merkel's sun crystals. That would be a long conversation. But try it. Awesome. Helps to break the cycle of chronic fatigue.
Cool. All right, we have Victoria from Cincinnati, and she asks, should I give my 2 preteens a probiotic? So the first question, of course, is what is a probiotic?
All right.
For those who don't know.
Okay, well, probiotic, for life, as in the opposite of antibiotic, which is suppress life. So the probiotics are essentially living creatures that are living in your body, especially in the digestive tract. Actually, there are living creatures everywhere, in your mouth, in your stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and there are different species living in different areas because there are different pH values. Like your small intestine is more alkaline, your lower intestine is more acidic. So different creatures live in different areas. And that's why your probiotic needs to be a proper blend of the bifidobacteria and the lactobacillus and several others. I think a normal gut contains something like 600 different species of these probiotics. So when your dairy company promotes your yogurt that makes your belly dance with the 3 strains of the probiotics, you're just fooling yourself about, oh yeah, you're doing the right thing, just not enough of it.
Right. We have a list of 3 or 4 bacteria here, and that's really good. But you're missing 3,000 or 4,000 other ones probably.
Well, the numbers are of course in billions, but the number of species that you should have. Okay, so the kinds or the types, there are the ones that live typically in the soil. They're called the soil-based bacteria or probiotics, and they typically are okay in not refrigerated packaging. They're usually bundled with either humic and fulvic or something like that, essentially in the humus of the soil. And those are really effective. So supplementing, we have the product called Body Biotics. Really good, excellent. It helps to restore the proper balance. And then, of course, then there are the lactose, which those are the ones that typically need to be refrigerated. The same ones that make yogurt what it is, or kefir, or those type of things.
Right. So getting back to Victoria's question, should we be giving them to preteens? Is there a reason we should be or shouldn't be making sure they've got them?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Your life depends on it. These creatures essentially represent the interface between the outside and the inside. The inside is the sterile part of your body, past the villi in your blood. And the non-sterile part of your body is inside of the tube that's between your mouth and your anus. It's so funny that running through the middle of you is the outside, really, the dirt.
Right.
And that's where these bacteria or flora, fauna, all these creatures live. And they are processing the nutrients. They are helping you to extract the nutrients out of it.
So Martin, you talked about the antibiotic before, and that's something that goes in and it kills all the bacteria. So we get the flu, bacteria, virus, that sort of thing, fungus. So we get a flu, we take an antibiotic. It doesn't just kill the flu virus, of course, it kills everything. It's like clear cutting in the mountains. It just, all the trees are gone, all the bacteria are gone. So if we have a child, or we have a teenager, or an older person, or a middle-aged person, or a senior, it doesn't really matter, they take some antibiotics, they have to repopulate that area with good bacteria, or more of the bad stuff just takes over, like weeds. If you don't, like weed your garden, you can plant some really nice carrots, but if you're not careful, when you come back a couple months later, you can't find your carrots because you've got all these weeds growing in there.
Yes, it's sort of like that. Well, okay, let me just say a couple of things. You said if you get the flu, you take antibiotics. That would be really counterproductive because, of course, antibiotics go after bacteria. They don't do anything about virus. And this is a common misconception. People say, give me a prescription, give me some antibiotics. They won't do a darn thing for the flu. But anyway, people have taken antibiotics, and as soon as you do that, it's sort of like taking the virgin prairie and then plowing it. So I don't know, if you see some abandoned lots in a city, they don't go back to beautiful prairie. They go back to tangleweed. They go back to really weird. And so that similar thing happens in the body is when you kill off the good flora, it takes a good while to rebuild. And for that reason, you do need to repopulate with healthy bacteria. This is the role of the probiotics. If you've ever been on antibiotics, you need to do a run of the soil-based organisms because there are some in that mix that are specifically good at killing off the unwanted weed and then promoting the good guys. And then you can top it up with the lacto. You can actually get your own lacto from eating kimchi or sauerkraut because those are naturally fermented. Those are the natural bacteria.
Okay.
So if you find yourself having a lot of flatulence after eating sauerkraut, it's probably that there's a lot of stuff left in your gut that they are able to ferment away. As in, if you have flatulence after eating sauerkraut, it's not a good sign. It's a sign that you should be eating a whole lot more of it, or more frequently. So about your preteens, oh my gosh, please. If they're drinking chlorinated water, why do we put chlorine in water? To kill bugs. What does chlorinated water do in your gut? Please
Kills
answer.
the bugs.
Kills the bugs. So that means please repopulate. and stop drinking chlorinated water. It's not good
Right.
for you.
Okay. Jean from Seattle asks, what is zeolite and can it help an autistic child?
Yeah, we come up with these. Do you have 6 hours to explain this? Okay, so
No,
the
we should
answer.
probably actually we'll do a hangout just on zeolite or just on autism, I guess, going forward to get into the depth that we need to.
Yeah,
We'll
we
let you know
definitely
when it is.
we will definitely do that. So the short answer, yes, it should be used. What it is, it's a volcanic material that is created on the planet when there is a eruption under the sea. So it's underwater in the ocean. There's an eruption, and somehow this material is born. There are multiple classes of zeolite. Some are industrial grade. Only very few of them are human food consumption grade.
So zeolite is something that's used in industry a lot. Well, I won't say like a lot, but I mean it has a use in industry and it's used for that.
Oh yeah, very much so. That's sort of like saying wood, and then you say, okay, what wood? Hardwood, softwood, pine, birch,
Right.
hickory. Well, zeolite is that sort of broad term. It has many varieties. Zeolite can be used in oil spills, chemical spills. Its main characteristic is that it's absorbent. It binds up, ties up all kinds of toxic things.
So it
And so
cleans up
the
toxins.
binds them. Yeah, it doesn't really do
Yeah.
anything with them other than hangs on to them. So of course, when you put zeolite into the human body, when that clump of zeolite encounters something like herbicide, pesticide, volatile organic compound, heavy metal like mercury, lead, that sort of thing, it ties it up and it comes out in urine. In fact, I remember when I first started using it, I was so entertained by the colors and the odors that were coming out of my urine.
Oh.
It was reminding me for a while of dryer sheets and other sort of fancy
Oh.
perfumes that my body has retained on the inside, and the zeolite was binding it and
Oh.
dragging it out of me.
Wow. Huh.
And the colors too. It started out with browns and then went off to something went funny here. I think
Oh, you good?
I'm good. Okay, all I can see on my screen is nothing.
Oh, I
Um,
see you.
okay, great. I'll carry on. And so the zeolite was making my urine first brown, then red, then yellow. I mean dark yellow. There were days when it was
Wow.
purple. Very entertaining.
Gee. How much were you using?
Um, oh yeah, that's also an excellent question. If you end up using too much, it's going to probably make you tired. So I had to figure out what the right dosage was. When I took too much, it made me very sleepy.
All right. Okay, cool. All right. Well, those are some really, really good questions. Thank you very much. Keep them coming. This is the Life Enthusiast open hours. So we take about an hour and we answer any questions that you've got. So watch for us on the Life Enthusiast blog at www.life-enthusiast.com/blog health news, right?
Yeah,
I
health
forgot
dash
the
news.
health-news, forgot the URL for it, but we'll also post it on the Facebook page and also on Google Plus. So, and we'll send out some emails letting you know when we have an upcoming one. So, Martin, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day, and thank you everybody for joining us. We look forward to having you on our next Life Enthusiast Open Hours Google Hangout. And Martin, if somebody's been listening to some of the great information you've been sharing and they'd like to know more, or maybe they've got a more specific question that they'd like to get an answer for, how could they get a hold of you?
Indeed, they can contact us at www.life-enthusist.com. The phone number is 1-866-543-3388. I'm the health coach here and answering the questions as they come. This is Life Enthusiast, restoring vitality to you and to the planet. Thank you for being here.